Today we're going to be talking about the Dhampir, which is part of Gothic lineages for UA. I'm really excited about the Dhampir character.
Yes.
Like really, really excited.
Yes, I know.
So I'm so happy that we get to talk about this today.
Right.
As a Dhampir, you get a base walking speed of 35 feet.
Yep.
You also get spider climb. So if you want to be extra nightmare fuel, you can choose a class with some feats that'll allow you some extra mobility, like squat nimbleness. I currently have my base walking speed at 50 feet, so I can spider climb very quickly. At level 3, you can go diagonally, horizontally, up, down. It's really your choice.
Yeah, and it's not the spell spider climb. Like they call the ability spider climb, and you get all of the benefits of spider climb, but it's not the spell, and it doesn't take concentration, which is really interesting.
Just do it.
Yeah, which is fun because like you are playing a character who has the mobility feat, squat nimbleness, and so you have the 35 feet. Then you add 5 from squat nimbleness, so now you're at 40. And now you have the mobility feat, so now you have a walking speed of 50 feet, and you can climb on walls. You're like the alien.
Yes.
Like, it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, and then another feature you get as a Dhampir is dark vision, which, everyone kind of has dark vision now, but it's kind of a necessity if you are a vampire. It makes sense, and that is 60 feet. I think there might be a potential exploit with your vampiric bite, but first, can you tell me a little bit about your vampiric bite?
Yeah, the vampiric bite is okay. Now, again, Unearthed Arcana tends to be more powerful than it's probably going to end up being if it does move on to be official content. Unearthed Arcana is playtest content, so it tends to be a bit powerful.
Don't tell him. Don't tell him.
Yeah, but this in particular is definitely very powerful because if there's some stuff that can be done here. So yeah, you have vampiric bite. You have a fanged bite. It is a natural weapon. It counts as a simple melee weapon, and you can add your Constitution modifier to your attack and damage rolls when you attack with your bite. Your bite deals 1d4 piercing damage on a hit while you're missing half or more of your hit points. You have advantage on attack rolls that you make with this bite. So if you're hungry, basically, they're really trying to evoke that vampiric kind of flavor here. You have advantage on all these attack rolls. Now, when you use your bite and hit a creature that isn't a construct or undead, you can empower yourself in one of the following ways, your choice. Regain hit points equal to the damage dealt by the bite, or gain a bonus to the next ability check or attack roll that you make. The bonus is equal to the damage dealt by the bite. You can do this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. You have to wait for a long rest. Now, it does say you gain hit points equal to your bite, and you get these bonuses based off the damage of the bite, but as a DM, I am not going to let you say smite with your teeth, right? Or any other effect that would boost this bite beyond, to a ridiculous level.
Right.
If you were there's a lot of ways to kind of cheat this. Rules is written. You can do some pretty terrible things with this bite. They're definitely going to not. There's going to be more clarification on that. They're not going to let you do that. That's preposterous. I mean, it's fun. But yeah, you can't be divine smiting through
or Hunter's Mark.
Yeah. So Hex. There's all kinds of spells that give you a bonus. Like if you use Hex or Hunter's Mark, all of this would obviously make you do more damage with your bite, but I don't think you should probably get the benefits added on to that bite. It is interesting that you get this benefit to your bite, that you get advantage if you're at half hit points. You're already kind of a tanky character, because if you really, really care about this bite feature and you want it to be effective, and you're putting a lot of you're using a very high score for your Constitution, you're already really tough. So this is a a very good subclass for being a tanky character, or maybe it's a good class for a character that maybe wouldn't normally be so robust.
Right.
Yeah. So you get a little bit of healing. The spider climb feature is pretty bonkers, and that's got to be pretty fun. Now, is it more powerful than, say, flight? No, absolutely not. But it's great flavor, and I love it. I think there's nothing creepier than seeing someone walk on a ceiling, right? Mm-hmm.
Well, it's really advantageous if you're outside a house that's 2-story,
right,
and it only has a window that's on the 2nd story.
Yeah.
You can spider climb up there and perhaps look through a window.
You'd be a very effective thief.
Yeah.
For sure.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Or maybe you can get that knock spell and just open the window. I didn't do that.
But that's essentially the Dhampir. It's I think it's really fun. Dhampirs have existed in D&D before, and I'm excited they exist now. Obviously, it's just way too powerful to play a full vampire, but Dhampir is giving you everything you want. And they do describe in this that, maybe there's a lot of different ways I would flavor this. Maybe a vampire tried to turn you, it didn't quite take effect, or you were doing some kind of weird magical experiment, and you ended up being half vampire. Now, they do actually mention, which I do love, and this harkens back to kind of Van Richten's guide to vampires back in the day. You can actually not only feed, you don't have to feed just on blood. You can feed on flesh, cerebral spinal fluid,
dreams, psychic energy, and I could see somebody rolling a Colin Robinson from What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, I can see a Colin Robinson with this for sure. Wow, I don't know how I'm not playing, running a 3 Dhampir.
You got to get on that.
a game, or 4. That's 4. Yeah, they got 4 in there. So, another interesting thing is that they do have all these different Dhampir origins. So maybe you're reincarnated from an ancestor. You have a pact with you have some kind of pact with a predatory deity or something like that. So there are a lot of reasons why maybe you have this nature, or you have a parasite inside of you. So you can really kind of customize, why are you this Dhampir? There's a lot of fun examples. I love it when they have these examples, these you can roll 1d8 and randomly decide what your origin is, but it's a really good way to give people examples about how they can flavor this vampiric character in a very unique way.
Right. So. And the way that the Dhampir is described in UA is that they really are suffering when they're not feeding. So you're really just in a terrible state when you're not feasting on blood or dreams or cerebral spinal fluid. So you really just, I wonder how that affects your role playing. I think that's something that's really fun to consider if you're, with a group of friends, you're not in combat. How would that affect your character? How would you interact with people?
Yeah. You
would have a hard time understanding or absorbing anything that's going on because you are in so much pain all the time, especially if you're surrounded by other humanoids. You probably get a whiff of everybody in the room and you're just doing everything you can not to bite them. Now, you don't have to necessarily flavor your character like that. For instance, my character does not think that being a Dhampir means that you have to be a monster. She is essentially a vegetarian vampire. So she's learned how to salvage blood from combat and...
Well, not quite a vegetarian, but...
Well, by vampiric standards, she uses that as part of her cooking skill. Yeah,
so you're cooking with blood.
You're cooking with blood. I do have a question for you. It's sort of outside of the box. So let's say that you're attacking a redcap and you want to feast on dreams. What do redcaps dream of?
Murder. Yeah.
Mainly murder.
Yeah, I mean, they're literally born out blood, so I think a lot of weirdness could happen from feeding off of a redcap. Because they literally come out of a pool of blood, I think, from a murder. So to feed on something that was born of blood is... I wouldn't feed on a redcap. I just wouldn't do it. If given the choice, I'd probably go for a cow.
Well, it seems like a pretty good source of food, right?
Yeah.
what are some things that you have to be mindful of in a group when you are playing a Dhampir? Because you are both humanoid and undead.
Yeah, they do bring this up. So this is one of those things where you can choose these Gothic lineages, which will be showing up in the Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft book that's coming out. Not necessarily in the Unearthed Arcana form, but they do tell you, like, you are considered humanoid, but also undead. And what that means is both things affect you. It does mean that though you are a Dhampir and you are undead, you still benefit from healing. So you can be revivified, you can be resurrected, you can be healed. All that still applies to you because, well, that wouldn't be very fun if it didn't. But what also affects undead affects you too. And that means turn undead will, there are spells that specifically deal with the undead. And it will affect you as well now.
And your saving throw for undead is wisdom. So I would make sure you've got a few points in wisdom.
Yeah, your saving throw for turn undead, is wisdom. And that's a thing to keep in mind, depending on your party composition.
Yes, it is also something for your party to keep in mind. So if you have a cleric in your group, make sure you have that session 0 to talk about what you need to be worried about. So if you're surrounded by a horde of undead, your cleric wants to cast this turn undead, maybe just ask them to give you a heads up so you can move away. You move pretty quick, you're a Dhampir. So that you are not affected by the spell. Yeah.
That's and it's going to be interesting role playing to be part vampire in any group of adventurers.
Absolutely.
It's certainly going to make a paladin or a cleric a wee bit nervous, probably in a couple of party situations. So it's fun. I like these because you can choose to be a Dhampir later on, or you can have always been a Dhampir if you want to. But the fact that you can, as you are playing, in your game, something can happen to you and you can actually become a Dhampir, I think that's really cool. The fact that you can change your lineage, your race later on makes perfect sense, especially with these.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool.
I actually had one more question about this turn undead. So you can also cast Destroy Undead once something is affected by turn undead.
If you're undead, you're affected by the effects that affect undead. That's what they're saying.
Because that could kill your character.
Yeah, I mean, as they are describing it right now, you're humanoid and you are also undead. So if an effect or a spell affects undead or humanoids, they both work. So, yeah.
Be extra careful.
Be careful out there, Dhampirs.
Yes.
It's interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So, things to consider.
So, go bite some things. Go put some points in Constitution and Wisdom. Talk to your clerics.
Yeah. Make friends with your paladin. Have that session 0. Yeah.
And thank you, everybody, for tuning in to another episode of Megan and Todd Talk D&D, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.